Hello to everyone who is listening. Today is quite significant day for me. Well, today and tomorrow. It's 11th of June and tomorrow will be 12th of June, apparently. And 6 years ago on this day, I met someone really significant for my life. Little did I know that that will be a start of my twin flame journey. 6 years ago back then, when I met him, all I knew it was like that he was very special person to me, because I never ever I experienced anything emotionally, mentally, physically, whichever way. Never ever I experienced that before in my life. Not ever. Well, there has been similar things, but because back then it was more like a platonic friendship for me, it sort of seemed a little different. And it was different because that was just a soulmate connection. But with this person, my life turned completely upside down. And I always say that my life has been before Shane and after Shane. Shane is my twin flame. Well, back then I even had no clue about this terminology, twin flame. I even had no idea what is it, and I never heard about it. All I knew about soulmates or destiny or fate and things like that. And when we met, this connection was something what I can't even explain. Only those who actually are on a twin flame journey, they will gonna get what I mean by when you can't explain. So in simple words, how can I describe twin flames, us as a twin flames? The connection was instant, like that. He was a bus driver back then, and I was traveling with a bus many hours a day, every day, nearly whole week except Sundays. And I met many bus drivers, and I already knew many I didn't knew them by then, but I saw them faces. We already said hello, like we know each other as friends. And to be fair, afterwards, those friendships started to evolve a little more than before. And the funniest thing was, like, him as a bus driver, I've seen before many times, and it was like something you can't even explain. It's like you see that person, he smiles, he says hello, you get your ticket, and you just go away with really strange feeling, especially because you can't really interact with bus drivers too much. So I was like, I always thought he's just being polite. The other thing what was confusing me back then, that sometimes he was very friendly, smiley, and you can see that sort of flirtatious attitude. And other times it seemed like he was really distant, really polite, same friendly, smiley, but that probably was what was confusing me all the time. So 6 years ago on this day, I was traveling to the school to pick up my boys, and because the bus arrived at one stop earlier than they should, they usually have to wait. I was supposed to travel a little bit more further, and because it was just few stops away, I was on a double decker, so I was on the other floor. So I decided I would just go downstairs and sit in the front, because that would make my life easier with the stairs and everything else. While I was sitting upstairs, when I got on the bus where he was, Shane was a bus driver back then on that bus. When I got my ticket, or showed my ticket, I don't remember what I was doing. Probably I was showing just a ticket, because usually I had a weekly riders and things like that. So I felt like we had this sort of, I can't even explain. It was something like a little bit flirtatious moment in between passenger and bus driver. But when I was sitting upstairs, non-stop I had a feeling that someone is looking at me, and I couldn't, and I had a feeling it is him, but if you can't prove, you don't know for sure. So when I went downstairs and sat on the front, because he was still waiting for the time to restart his journey, so he was just saying like simple, shy, hi, hello, how are you, what you doing, what are you doing now, and things like really casual talk. But for some reason something really went upside down in me on that moment. I can't explain that, but the way when I got off the bus, the way how I felt, it was like I was flying. It wasn't just like a normal butterflies. They were like it was like a butterfly army inside of me, if I can describe it like that. So and for the first time in my life, I had this crazy inside feeling that I really want to communicate with him. I really want to talk to him. I really want to know him. And therefore, when I got back home, because on the way back I didn't see him on any other bus, quite often it was like, back then, because that was 6 years ago, back then it was like quite often, if I got on one bus till the moment when I got on another bus, he could be already there. That's how this changing thing was back then, that quite often you could get on the different buses and the bus driver is the same. So, well, obviously universe knew what they are doing, so yeah, simple as. But because now all these timetables have changed so much that I rarely can even meet anyone whom I know. So it's like I'm saying, universe were doing its own job, and we basically met, at least in that way. So when I got back home, I had, for the first time in my life, I should admit, first time in my life, I had a feeling that I have to write down a note with my name, how to find me on a Facebook, and if the person suddenly is not on a Facebook, my phone number. Not ever before that I have given to anyone by myself my contact details. And the thing is, on the next day, that's like tomorrow, 6 years ago, I don't know why, I had a feeling that I will not gonna get on any of his buses, but I had a feeling that I will gonna see him. So that note was all the time prepared, really in a reachable place, and I knew if I were gonna see him, I will gonna give it to him. I don't know why I was such. The same as with this YouTube channel, I just felt this nudging feeling that I have to do this. I have to do this for whatever reasons. It's like a universe is nudging me. Do it, do it, do it. I don't know why. Maybe it will gonna help someone. I don't know. But it's not even intuition. It's like a nudging feeling, and you can't calm down until you have started to do it, or until you've done it. So, and as funny as it is, when I was going to the bus to the school again, I literally looked in every single bus, and on that day in none of the buses he was my bus driver. But like when I already nearly lost all hope, I was going to the bus what goes to the school, and when I was passing a bus stop, I saw other bus with completely different route, I saw him there, so I quickly walked to him and I gave him my note, what he put in his pocket. That note stated, my name is Marika. If you want to find me, if you are single and if you would like to talk to me or chat with me, you can find me on Facebook or you can message me on my number, what was given down. And when I gave it, it's like, you know, it's like, it's so weird because the feeling was like probably those who are using weed or something, I'm not probably weed, I can't even explain it. I don't know how it is to be high, but I had this like, you know, like everything is like inside, like just like bubbling, and it just goes boiling, and you don't know. It's like even that adrenaline, like adrenaline kick, you know, when you have this, when you are like, ooh, all the time, like you can't calm down, and you think, what will gonna happen next? What will gonna happen next? Will he gonna message me? Will he not? What? Maybe it was just my illusion that he was flirting with me or something, you know. And so it was silent. And then the same day, when I was already nearly back home from the school run, I received a message on the way back on the other bus. When I was going back home, I got the message from him, and it stated, my name is Shane. I am so and so years old. I was back then 34 and he was 26. What surprised me, because I didn't know that we have so big age difference, but never mind that. I never believe in age difference. I believe in connections. I believe in maturity and love and integrity. So yeah, so he messaged, but then was like, bam, first disappointment was that he actually is in a relationships. From today's perspective, I would probably say run, don't even message anything back. But the message was so heartful and warm and really nice. Like, it felt like I knew him for ages. It didn't feel like he's complete stranger to me. It just felt like I know him. The way how he wrote everything, it didn't feel like, you know, when first time stranger is messaging you, you are like, oh, what should I say? What should I do? It felt like I know him so well that our conversations started to float like a river. Just, it was like a endless non-stop conversation. And I felt bad, but I sort of said, let's be just friends then. We can talk, we always can talk. The worst part was that she was pregnant with a second child. Even better, right? So, yeah, and then he explained me why I have seen sort of his face, but with so different attitudes. Turns out he has a twin brother, but he said because like his twin brother is gay, so he said that's why he's not really flirting with any ladies. So what makes sense. And so yeah, that's how my journey started. I know that back then, literally, I was put in a position that I'm a third party. It doesn't matter. I am woman. He was chatting with woman outside his relationships with someone who just turned up in his life. So, and because those conversations were really, really from the heart, he told me all his life things. I told him mine. We shared like secrets what even many people even don't know, probably still. And it's just like it soaked me in so badly that I just couldn't get the way out of it. So I can't say I'm not regretting anything. That's how my actual twin flame journey started. That's how my growth as a personality started. Because till then, I was more, how explain better? I was mom, I was a person, but I didn't know who I am. I only was just going on the flow, you know, where life takes me, so I'm going there. Oh, how my ex was doing this and that. I was living in a victim mode all the time because everyone who approached me, everyone was doing many things what left me with a question, why did they do that to me, and things like that. He, as a person, for the first time in my life, I met a person who was totally different in his opinions, in his attitude. He was treating me like, I can't even say, at least at the first it was like, he even said to me that you deserve a king because you are a queen. So, yeah. For nearly half a year, it was a huge roller coaster with us. After that half a year, we went in no communication for many reasons. That's a long story with a long, small details, but that's what happened. He blocked me everywhere because it was too unbearable. We just couldn't resist temptation to talk, even at least to talk. It was just that magnetic pull was just way too much. So, and at the point when he switched his head off and his runner position, he just switched off totally. And I left, how I was left dealing with everything what was on my mind, in my heart, and even in my physical world, all on my own. And it was tough. That was the toughest time I ever had. For nearly a year, I walked around like a zombie because I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't clearly think. I couldn't, I was just existing on that moment for a whole year until I finally pulled myself together, because I don't remember exactly what, but that was like a breaking point, because I saw that I'm harming my kids because of the way how I feel, because they saw that I'm like really down. I can't say I had a depression. It's not like I don't believe in depression. I know there is a depression. My mom had a depression and I know how it looks like, but the way how it was for my mom, it wasn't like for me. So I always say, for me, I actually haven't experienced depression. I have experienced low feeling, really breakdown points when you really break down, but then I always, after the breakdowns, I pull myself together up like a phoenix bird, you know. I burn myself completely down to ashes and then I raise up completely brand new. So after a year, I pulled myself finally together and I started to live my life. I let him go, in a way. I can't say I let him go completely, but I switched off from all the time thinking what I did wrong, why did it happen, and things like that. But then it started my grievance other phase. I got off the chain. I started partying, going to the clubs, dancing, but that was good because I needed to dance out all that negativity what was piling up in me for a whole year. So it turned like a half of a year in clubbing every other weekend. Basically, it wasn't so much about drinking. I wasn't drinking that much. Of course we drank, but usually we drank a little bit to get to the club, so we are tiny bit tipsy so we can cope with the people who are completely drunk there, if you know what I mean, because like if you go sober to the club, it feels like, what the hell is going on? And you just can't cope with that. So we usually go to the point when we are tipsy, really, we have much fun, everything, me and my friends. And we were going and dancing, and we danced all night till club was closing down. So that's how I got out all my negative energy. After half a year, all that stopped, and that's when I started to finally trying to live normal life, you know, like my everyday life and things like that. So during that time, I met him again, and we started to talk. That was like approximately, 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, that was about around Easter time. Yeah, 2 years ago, we started to talk as a normal people, because we had a short and small communication the year before, but that was just so brief, and I was like, what the hell was even that, you know? I can see you live in some sort of dream world or something. So as quickly it started, the same quickly it ended. And 2 years ago, around Easter time, this communication started completely accidentally, because I got one of the apps and I saw him there, and because there was something what I needed to tell him, completely not even related to me and him, but like completely to different things. So I wrote him a letter stating what I have to say, even though I thought he will never ever reply anyway. It's just like, I thought if he will gonna read, good, but I wasn't even expecting a reply. And he replied, and suddenly it became as a normal conversation again. It was like we were, in a way, back how we were back then. I mean, like, we were talking, we were civil, we were friendly, we were even flirtatious and things like that. But back then I didn't have any like aim, or I didn't even thought about the fact that we could be a couple, or we have to be together, or things like that. I thought if we were gonna be friends, it will be fine with me. It will be more than enough for me. And then we met. I was quite happy about that. But every time we were communicating, it felt like there's certain things what's been unsaid. So it was like we were like tiptoeing around each other about past thing, because we never ever spoke about the past, and it felt like there is no closure about what happened back then. So it was like a tiptoeing around each other in conversations, sort of, yeah, you know, like this awkward conversation when you sort of want to say something more, but you are afraid that you will blurp out something like inappropriate. And after a few months, when I was coming back from my holidays, from my country, I don't remember exactly what I wrote. I have to think really carefully to remember in details. But the conversation started like I wrote something. I think I wrote that I'm really emotional and I miss all my friends and everything else. And his response was like, yeah, but you always can go back. But that was like, because he messaged me that shortly before I needed to switch off phone. And that message pissed me off big time, because we had a chat about it. We had a conversation why I'm living in UK and not back in my country. We had all this conversation, of course, ages ago, but in a way it did piss me off that you are saying and you are telling me things what you are supposed to understand. Why am I living still here in this country? And I wrote this message in a I was like so angry. I wrote this message and I thought, okay, that's it. I switched off phone and I thought, okay, that's it. I will gonna come back to UK and he will block me again, and that's all about it. So this is the end. So that's how I was prepared for that. Big my surprise was that it wasn't. He actually replied, quite understanding message. And from that point, our conversations became again really full with heart. We actually spoke about the past. There were a few things what we didn't resolve. I don't think he still acknowledges few things what he done. He doesn't want to take responsibility. I'm not saying he has all the blame on him, but I try to tell him about it many times, but it seems he still doesn't want to take responsibility about few things. Never mind, it's his problem, not mine. And but from then we started to really be on a good conversations, and as stupid as it sounds, he was again in a relationships. This time these relationships were different. He shouldn't hide. He messaged me, but it was like she knew about me and she knew that we are friends, but still it seemed a little bit paradoxal, you know. And but like I said, back then I thought I don't have any intentions to get in a relationships with him anyway. I was fine being just his friends. And then in that autumn, so that was like, now it seems like 1.5 years ago, I started to talk with someone with whom I had exactly same great communication. Maybe not as great, but really strong, really, it seemed like really promising, and I was like really hyped up about it. And it finished on a really bad way. Like that could be in details. And that's when I broke down for the first time. And that's when I started to look around for answers to my questions. Why? What am I doing wrong all the time? And that's the first time when I came across Jason from Ray of Light Tarot. And that is when I first time found out about twin flames, soulmates, twin flame journeys, and stuff like that. And only then I realized that Shane is my twin flame. All the previous years I was only wondering why he still lingers in my thoughts, even though I have moved on and I forgave him, but I couldn't understand the point why he still is in my mind so after so long time. And on that moment I understood that that was when my twin flame journey started. So this is short brief insight about how my twin flame journey started. If you have any questions, ask ahead. See you later.